Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be here. This is Joanne Newborn, your lifestyle and leadership coach with Newborn Evolution. And I have a really special guest with me today that I'm going to be interviewing. Her name is Prerana Shirname, and she's a leadership coach like I am. But what's really exciting and why I'm thrilled that she's here today is that she is also a personal branding consultant. And I am just so jazzed up about this topic because I've been in marketing for many years, but to talk about branding yourself is really, really like beyond exciting. So she has quite an extensive background. I'm going to put her bio in the post along with this video so you can read more about her and how to connect with her. But welcome. So
thank you so much, Joanne, for having me on this show over here for your audience. And I'm so excited to give my insights on personal branding as a leadership coach.
Awesome. I also want to say that this is why I love technology. You've come across many contents and many time zones to be here because you're based in India and here I am based in the US. And I love technology so much for this reason.
Absolutely. It just connects us so well. And, there's a great exchange that can happen virtually.
Definitely. So the first thing I want to ask about is really basic, but what is a personal brand?
So I think everybody understands what is branding. You talk about brand and you think, big brands like Louis Vuitton or Apple. Just to bring you to an individual level, personal brand is all about promoting an individual being cohesive with the expertise, experience, skills, and abilities of that person. So it's a way that you want to be recognized in the eyes of the others. It's the way you want to promote yourself and want to be known as. It's very different when somebody asks you, describe yourself. Very few people can do that. They all would want to say what they want to become. But personal brand is something which is that one thing that everybody thinks about. When they think about that one thing, it has to be your name. So that is how you personalize it with yourself, with being an individual. Personal branding is something where others perceive you as somebody with a certain skill or somebody. So when we think leadership, we think Joanne Newborn. When we think, Steve Jobs, what do we think? We immediately connect it with Apple or the innovation and the products, right? So this is what personal branding does to an individual. The promotion, the recognition that brings you, the value you can add to others. That is what is being a personal brand.
This is so perfect because I'm working with all of my clients on creating the vision for their dream job. A lot of them are building their own businesses as well. So I think personal branding is just so spot on with what we're working on here. So I know that part of that is identifying people's strengths that you had shared with me. And I'd love to know how you work to identify people's strengths.
First of all, I think a person should believe. It's all about the mindset. You need to believe that you have strengths. Okay. Now there could be two, I want to dissect it into two things.
Okay.
One is self-reflection and the other is how others perceive you. Under self-reflection, I would want to say, we all are either born with a certain ability, which we call it as an innate ability, right? Or we kind of acquire over time. We acquire a skill or something that we like. So first of all, we need to figure out, what am I really passionate about? What do I absolutely love doing? What comes very naturally to me? I don't have to put on to, let that skill out or, let it be seen. It has to come very, very naturally. So if a person likes talking, you can really tell. If a person likes storytelling, you can really tell. If a person loves art, you can come to know very well. So what is it that is your strength? What is it that you absolutely love doing? First, you figure that out. You can identify that. The other side is how others perceive you as. Do they perceive you as somebody who is a good listener, maybe a good chef, maybe somebody who is a very good planner? And some of us could be known as best in execution. So, how do others perceive you as is very important. That repute in their minds will help you identify your strengths. You can also ask them as an audience, what would be that one thing that they would come to you for if they need help in anything? So this will kind of help you figure out your strengths. And then you can definitely come down to what goes with you. What do you want to go with? Basically, what is your passion? That greatest gift that you have and that superpower in you. So go with that. That is your strength.
I like that you said superpower. I've used that term before. So if they
Right.
were, let's say they were going to go out and do some research on themselves to say, I want to find out what people think. About how many people do you think that they should ask? And then in what realm? Should it be just their business colleagues? Should it be family? Should it be friends? Like, who should they be asking?
It should be a mix of both where they're working with them very closely. Because when you're working with somebody very closely, they are able to identify your strengths and your weaknesses. So that's where you will kind of get very genuine answers. And of course, it is very important that you trust that person.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very good way to get a feedback that is genuine.
Okay. Maybe they could also ask their coach.
Oh, yes, definitely. That's what we're here for.
Right. Awesome. So I wanted to ask you too, so once you identify the strengths, then how do you begin to build that personal brand?
Right. So once you have identified your strength, what you can do is to build a personal brand, you need to figure out what is my unique value addition. So there's this term known as UVA. It's not USP. I think everybody knows what is USP, right? What's your USP? Unique selling proposition or unique selling point. But UVA is something, the full form goes like this: unique value addition. What is the value that you can add? Remember, I told you personal branding is all about adding value to others,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you say that what is your when you've decided that this is my strength, how is it that I'm going to add value to communities around me? I'm going to use my intellectual ability along with some productivity to benefit others around me. Remember, once others have seen it in you, is the ball is just going to set rolling, right? So others need to perceive that in you, and everything is not about what's in it for me, what's in it for others,
Mm.
right? As well. So that is what can help you identify and give you a good branding, which is obviously related to personal branding.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point that you made about adding value to others. And that should
Yes,
probably be your number one thought in the process, is like, how am I adding value for others?
absolutely.
Um, so, okay, you also had talked about when you and I were talking about like finding a niche and that niche area. I know some of my clients really struggle with that, and I can tell you that like it. I know that the more niche that you are, the better it is to be able to speak to people. And we think that we're narrowing that too far, and I have the same problem myself. It's like we resist niching down too far. So I wanted to ask you, so you could help my people out here, is that how do we find our niche, and how narrow should it actually be?
So let me just start by giving my own example. From a young age, I always liked talking to people, and I could notice that my friends or people I knew would come to me for problem solving and advice, right? This is a thought which was far behind in my life. However, when things turned over in my life, I changed industries. I was not always a coach. So I was into fashion earlier, and then I was also into aviation, and then I moved to coaching. So all these experiences in my life figured or helped me rather narrow down to what I actually like. So I understood that I like talking to people. I can solve problems. I'm a very good listener. So while back in school and college, my grades were never good. Okay, that's one point I was weak in. But my communication was always great. I was known for involving everyone. I could understand people's body language. I could understand um, how to kind of know when somebody is feeling out of place. So I could observe behavioral patterns very well. That is something I picked up. So I knew when I was trying to find my niche. So I knew all these things. So when I wanted to become a coach, I knew that I didn't want to become a life coach, or I didn't want to become uh, maybe a health coach. I knew my niche. It was something to do with coaching and being a leader, being a listener, being into somebody who can take everybody along and move further, move forward. So I knew that is how I narrowed down my niche. So for example, if you are um, a writer, how do you narrow down your niche? Are you a writer? Do you love writing for comics or just fiction stories? Or do you like writing on fashion? Do you like writing on programming? What is it that you love? So this is how you can narrow it down, to a very, 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 very specific level. Also, there are some niches which are very different. I have come across some niches which um, you know, there are people who are only and only working with single women, or women who are solely, in charge of their children and without any support. Now, in this way, you can really narrow it down. That kind of helps you hit the bullseye for your target audience. And in this way, your target audience also knows who is the right person to go to. Between, if you want to choose between a doctor who is an orthopedic, or somebody who is a heart specialist, but you know that you are having some issues with bones, you know whom to go to. The orthopedic is going to be able to help you out over there. So this is the niche that we are talking about.
I like what you said about like you knew what you were really good at, because I think sometimes when people start to think about, oh, okay, what is my niche going to be? They look at the outside and then go, well, like I like this, so how about this and how about that? But you really started from the inside out.
Yes.
Like, this is what I'm good at, and that's going to shape what my niche is.
Right.
That's great.
Totally.
It makes it a lot easier to think about what is my niche when like the answers are already inside you, instead of saying like, okay, I'm going to sit down today and I'm going to take 2 hours and I'm going to think about all these different niches I could have. And I think that's why people get really frustrated too, because it's not really resonating with what's already inside them and what's easiest for them to do.
Yeah. So the moment if you found out your niche, if you have things like, like I had communication, I had to connect that with a real life example where I was, able to get through my communication to the person and receive a feedback. So if I was solving a problem of, a friend who needed my help, it had to be solved, and it came back as a feedback that thank you, your support was needed, or your guidance helped me out. That is where I understood that yes, this is a real life example I can connect to what I feel I'm good at.
Mm,
That is very important. It gives you, um, it proves that your thought is in the right direction.
awesome. That's great. Um, so you've also mentioned leadership hacks. And
Yes.
I find that term funny because I don't think of leadership and hack being in the same sentence. So I'm really curious to know what some of your leadership hacks are.
So, my leadership hacks, one of them, which I've already told you about, is the UVA. Everybody wants to lead, but how do you lead? What value are you adding to others? Like I mentioned, is very, very important. Is very important. That is one hack. Leaders could lead all the way that they want, but who's actually following them?
Yeah.
You need to look behind, you need to turn around and watch that what you're doing, are you adding value to others around you? Another thing is developing others. It's one major important thing. Everybody who's out there to work, or who has a business, they're all looking to make money, yes, but they're all looking to develop themselves. So what are you doing to develop them? Once you figure that out, that person is not going anywhere, and you have led the way very well for them, and your leadership is really, really very good. That proves it. Because the moment a person is very unhappy or unsure with a leader, that person is going to either goof up in the work or be unhappy at work. And it's very important that they feel that their future lies here. They are adding value to the organization. It's very important for them to feel uplifted, and that happens by developing them as well. It's not only about just you leading the way, but
Yeah.
how about them coming along?
So let's say
So
I have one other question, and I'm going to ask you if you have other hacks, but if you are finding that, okay, you think that you've kind of figured out your personal branding and your niche, and then you see that you're not having the people following you, what should you do to sort of revamp your branding?
again, first of all, we need to check whether what we think we are passionate about and what others post. Maybe there's a gap there.
Mm,
So if there is a gap, if others think that you are good at it, it has to be a combination of both. It can't be, I can't say, oh, I think I'm great at driving and I start driving. However, I need to have a license. Somebody needs to, attest that for me, right? Only then will I become a good driver. In the same way, it's not only because I say, oh, I love that, or I love music composition, but do others like to listen to my songs?
yeah.
Would they listen to more tracks that I compose? So that is the gap which needs to be bridged.
Yeah, I think that that really resonated for me. Like, is it connected to your passion? Because people can really feel that. And I think a lot of times people pick something because they think, oh, this is popular now, or this, I'll get a lot of
Yes.
people following me because this is what is really hot right now. But
Right.
it's not connected to their passion. And then I've seen really like bizarre kind of things. I know someone, and she was actually a coach in a program that I was in, and she had spent her career in human resources, and then she became a psychic business coach, which sounds really
Okay.
far out. But as
Right.
soon as she narrowed it down to that and what she was passionate about, like she had so many clients and she's so successful now. So I think, even if you think it's a little outside of the norms, like if it's
Right.
resonating with what you're passionate about, like go for it. Give it a shot.
I think it's going to be bang on if it's completely out of the norm, because that is what people are looking for. You'll find thousands of others, but what is different in you will make you stand out, right? That
Awesome.
is the way, that's how strong your personal branding should be.
Yeah, I love that concept of like embrace being out of the norm because that's how people
Yeah,
are going to find you. That's awesome.
right.
This has been wonderful. I just wanted to know if there was anything else you wanted to add, or if you wanted to talk about where people can find you, if they want to learn more about personal branding.
Right. You can get in touch with me on Inspiron by Prerana Shirname. That's a Facebook page and an Instagram page. I'm also on my way to launching my website known as inspironleadership.com. So just to let you know, there's a little connection to Inspiron, which means inspiring. It's just a word of it. Prerna, my name, means inspiration
That's
in
awesome.
my language, in Hindi. So that's the connection. So my website is going to be known as inspironleadership.com, and you can find me there, and we can work together by identifying your strengths and building a personal brand for you. And don't worry, I'll be there to help you with that.
That's great. I love the name. Did you make up the name Inspiron? I
Yes,
love, I
yes.
just love when people do that. I think it's so awesome.
Right. So
Well,
that's what it has to be, unique, right?
yeah, yeah, and I love the meaning of your name. It's perfect, and
Thank you.
I kind of sort of did the same thing, right? A newborn evolution,
Right.
newborn
Yes,
by
yes. I
last
love
name.
yours too. Yes. Newborn evolution. That's right.
Funny. Well, this has been wonderful. I want to thank you so much. I am actually going to be interviewed by Prerana. I always say your name wrong. I'm
It's
just going
all
to be,
right.
say it again,
It's
please, so everyone knows.
Prerna.
Prerana.
Prerna.
Prerana.
Yes.
She's going to be interviewing me as well. So I will let everyone know where you can find that. And I'm going to be talking about resistance to change and resilience and getting out of your comfort zone. So I just want to
Yes.
thank you so much. This is so wonderful. I love connecting with you, and you and I will be talking very soon. And
Yes.
if anyone has any questions, I'll make sure that you're able to answer them and get in touch with people.
Thank you so much for having me on this show, Joanne. It was my pleasure to be here and answer everything on personal branding. And I hope everybody over there can benefit from this.
They definitely will. This is so valuable. Thank you.
Thank you.